There's a big storm coming our way. How big is it? What is it going to produce? Are we going to be chasing? Well, we're going to cover that in this video. So the SPC just released their new outlooks. But here's the thing, there is quite a large enhanced and quite a large moderate. There's also a 10 and 15% SIG tornado potential. I'm not going to be the one explaining to you. One of our head forecasters, Josh, will be explaining to you here in just a second.
Hi, so my name's Josh. I am head forecaster for Spark Service Storm Chasing. And today we are going to be going over the risk for Tuesday, November 29th, and what it entails, the ingredients coming together for this, and even my personal thoughts on everything. And I guess we're going to dive right into it. You can see on screen. This is the official SPC forecast. We have a moderate risk out for portions of Louisiana, Arkansas, small portion of southwestern Tennessee, and a majority of Mississippi. And what this entails is a 15% and 10% significant tornado risk, a 30% non-SIG wind risk, and a 15% hail risk for a majority of this area. Now, going into the tornado risk, we have a 15 and 10% significant risk. What this means is you have a 10 or 15% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of any given point within this risk if you were in those areas. And on top of that, the SIG rating means you have a 10% chance of seeing a significant tornado within this area within a mile or a point of 25 miles. Now, what a significant risk or hatched risk means is you have a 10% chance of seeing an EF2 plus tornado within a 25-mile given point, and that could also be long tracked at the same time. And I guess diving into the discussion, even the wording within this, kind of rundown is pretty strong on the wording. So for the summary of it, severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes and wind damage along with some hail are expected Tuesday afternoon and evening, extending into the overnight periods across parts of the lower to mid-Mississippi Valley and parts of the southeast. A few strong long-track tornadoes will be possible. We do expect a possible outbreak of tornadoes tomorrow. Going into it, we have the HRRR. This is the 18Z run. Now, we move into Tuesday around 6 a.m. Not much is really happening within the risk area. But slowly, as you creep out through the day, things start to kind of gradually change. As you can see, by even 8 a.m., we have storms starting to try and fire in Arkansas, Louisiana, places around there. And as we progress, these storms are going to grow and upscale, but not to the point where, it's going to limit our tornado risk. And by noon, we have full-blown supercells, possibly, in parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And this is going to progress through the day. This will be the first wave. There will be multiple waves to this system. The first wave will start passing through. It'll be over by about 6 to 8 o'clock. And then a second wave forms of supercells. That's going to go through the risk area, and then overnight throughout Wednesday morning, this is going to congeal into a line, but there are still possibilities that we could see isolated storms within this time frame. Our storm then proceeds to carry off and form more into a squall line throughout Wednesday morning. And pretty much by noon Wednesday, this is going to be out of the risk area. It's not going to be much of a threat. But what we are focused on right now is Tuesday in general. So now I'm going to go over, wind shear, kinematics involved with this system. We'll look at the 0 to 1 bulk shear. So we start looking at it, and our environment by 6 a.m. is already starting to really take place. We can see in the 0 to 1 kilometer range, anywhere at even 6 a.m., Areas of 30 knots in Mississippi, areas of 45 knots in Arkansas, very small portions of it in Louisiana. For people that don't know, 30 knots is like 15 miles per hour. So it's about you divide it by half, and that is right about where you would be in miles per hour. So you can do that conversion. We move into noon, and we start to get, it's not as significant, but we still have a wide belt of high wind shear. But as we progress through the night, a low-level jet is set up. And this is really going to be where our risk starts to kind of reach peak intensity. Around 6 o'clock is when it starts to kick off. And we're seeing areas of 50 knots within the 1 kilometer range that could be present. Going to the 0 to 6 as well, this is pretty evident as we could have pretty high just shear all around. I mean, even 0 to 6, we're seeing areas that could reach up to 70, 80 knots in the 0 to 6 kilometer range, which is, for reference, 0 to 3 miles up in the atmosphere, which is very conducive for rotation or large scale rotation. But also what comes into play is helicity. Helicity shows rotation with height, and pretty much everything's set in place, set in stone by noon, helicity-wise, and it just grows in upscale. I mean, usually what we see is pretty much 50 to 150 values when it comes to this meter squared per second squared within most, risk days. But we could see areas reach 500, 600 the further north you go. And I mean, that's just very conducive for tornadic potential. This is one of the main reasons we have this moderate risk out. And even then, it doesn't stop there, because we'll start now talking about thermodynamics. By noon on this day, we could see temperatures reaching 70 degrees in portions of Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And that remains pretty much throughout the entire night through Wednesday until the cold front passes through. Dew points are unseasonably high for this event. We could see dew points in the upper 60s, low 70s within this. And those advect all the way up to Illinois. I'm not showing it, but they advect almost all the way into Illinois. So this is a very dynamic system. To the north of the moderate risk, we will have a squall line. But down here, where the moderate risk is, we could see supercells just basically forming one after another and staying discrete pretty much throughout the entire night hours. I don't normally look at this, but this is significant tornado parameter. This shows our highest condensed area where we could see significant tornadoes within, an hour time frame. And we kick off about noon, and those are already starting to rise in portions of Louisiana, southwestern Mississippi, southern Arkansas. And it's just, it explodes, basically. We're seeing parameters of 3. We barely even see 1s on most days. And even back here, we're seeing 4s in Arkansas with the supercells that should fire. And even throughout the night into the tomorrow morning, we could see, tornadic potential all the way through probably noon. Or I wouldn't say noon, more like 6 a.m. tomorrow. And it's just a very prolonged threat for this system. We could be looking at initiation before noon on Tuesday, and the system's still carrying on with this potential through Wednesday at 6 a.m. So we're looking at minimum 18 hours of, potentially strong storms throughout the southeast and Arkansas, Mississippi Valley territory. And I don't really have much else to say in terms of potential. This is basic stuff. I'm trying to keep it simple. Going back to this. my thoughts on this. There is definitely outbreak potential with this risk, specifically in Mississippi. Considering we could see multiple rounds of isolated supercells, this is a threat that's not going to be one and done. This is going to be multiple rounds, possibly through same areas, all day and all night, Tuesday into Wednesday. I mean, even the SPC sees this. Now, one thing that is actually limiting this are lapse rates. Lapse rates, we don't really have them in the deep south because of moisture advection. It shows temperature rising with height. And, I mean, for this, 6.7 is enough, but for a higher parameter to really be there, you want 7s and above, usually. But it's hard to get that down here simply because of moisture advection. And it does rise throughout the night, specifically in this area, but within the moderate risk. Now, this is really the only thing making this system lack any potential, but even then, it's almost negligible. Like this, we're gonna see tornadoes probably, but this factor, if it rises, that just grows more on our potential for seeing tornadoes throughout the day. Aside from that, I am going to hand it back off to Griff.
Thank you so much, Josh. I know a lot of people enjoy the in-depth analysis, but there's a few things I want to tell the community real quick. I want you to make sure you have your proper tornado plans in place. So if you don't know what that is, I want you to go to the lowest floor of your house if you have one and stay there. If you don't have a basement or a lower floor, I want you to head to the most center room in your house, like an interior closet or a bathroom. I want you to carry a helmet with you, phone chargers, your phone, and a whistle. The reason I want you to carry a whistle is because that travels further and cleaner than a human voice. And eventually your voice will run out if you yell enough. So make sure you have your tornado precautions in place. Please do not drive on the evenings of the 29th. I get it. There's stuff you've got to do. Some people be coming home from work. Some people may be going to different events. If you live in a mobile home, please try to find somewhere else to stay. Either it be a friend's house or find your local tornado shelter. They'll let you stay there as long as you need to if you just say you're in a mobile home. The reason why I want you to stay out of cars and mobile homes is those things can get picked up and tossed like a toy. They're really nothing to stay in during an event like this because there still will be very strong winds with this storm. So please pay attention to this. But until then, I want you guys to stay weather aware. I don't want you to panic. I want you to just stay calm and tune into your local meteorologist. If you want to, though, we will have a chase stream up on our YouTube channel, or you can go to Force 13 and watch their coverage there, where our footage will be being used for different things for comparison and showing them really what's going on. All right, until then, y'all stay prepared.